Welcome everyone to the Four Chess Cast. Tonight we don't have Justin with us. He's got some plans with his family. We'll allow him this one time.
Will we?
But well, for now,
Okay.
we might get him next week. But for now, you have myself, Will. You have Kevin. You have Tim. We are the three checks for tonight. And we've had a pretty busy week in universes. Compared to the last few weeks where
Last
we
week we were
didn't
like,
really
I
have
don't know.
much to talk
Yeah.
about. Yeah. Um, we've had a few things. One of the big things that we won't get into tonight, I will mention that we do have plans to talk about it. There's the OP update, which keys into what we were talking about last week. But that's the thing that Justin wanted to talk about specifically last week. We wanted to wait until he's back to go over that. So instead, tonight we're going to talk about the ban list. We're going to talk about the metagame going forward, involving Guilty Gear and the bans, and
A little bit of Stark Dark real quick, right?
yes,
Yeah.
Tim, why don't you start us off with that? You're the one who went to it, so
Yeah, so I went to Stark Dark in the St. Louis area. I was not there to take the event seriously. I played this funny weapons backup Nedjure that I've been messing around with that's like fringe viable, right? Like she loses close a lot kind of thing. And that's kind of how it played out. I lost a couple close ones to Godzilla and a somewhat less close but still relatively close one to Deku. And I won a match against Mega Mutant, and I won one against, I believe, oh yeah, I won against a Rodan by Mill because I couldn't kill him either. So
I mean, overall, was the deck cool though? Like, how
yeah,
fun
the
was
deck
it?
is cool and fun. It's playing Nedjure with weapons and the Jarrett Howarth and some backup themed cards, some Harness Undeath.
Okay,
Incredible display. We're playing some cool ones. We're playing Bagpipe. We're playing Outman Maneuvers, I believe is the name of the card that goes and picks up a foundation or backup when it hits.
sure,
So a bunch of cool moves and
that's cool.
incredible display. And we're blocking a lot and we're putting +2 damage on things. So I'll
And
probably
gain 2 life whenever you play a foundation.
Yeah, and
yeah,
it was Nejire 1, correct?
yes, Nedjure 1.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna keep fiddling with that deck, especially with when the soul leveling stuff comes out. I don't think it's a serious. If I want to take Buffalo seriously, I probably won't play it. If I just want to have fun at Buffalo, I might play it.
That's fair.
Kind of thing. But yeah, so that was my event in a nutshell, and then I played some board games and some Trails TCG with people that were there. Got to stay in the Airbnb with Buck and Creed from Pensacola and George from Los Angeles and Tam and Rebby from Iowa and Paul from Jacksonville. So we had a pretty scattered group of people in this Airbnb. Went out to eat a couple times. Usual good event experience, right? Good venue, great venue. They had the stream up on a big TV with a viewing area.
Oh, that's cool.
The meta for the event was, I believe, a lot of Devil Jin was registered, and I don't know if we ever got formal numbers, but it felt like out of a 26-person field, there were like 5 or 6 Devil Jins, and probably like 3 or 4 Godzillas, and then a spattering of other things. The event was ultimately won by a Deku. Why am I blanking on the name all of a sudden? I feel really bad. I'm blanking on the person that won.
Was it Zach?
Zach Bardry. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. With Deku over Tam's Mikasa in the finals. A lot of the Devil Jins, I didn't follow the pairings, but they either paired into each other or they had Devil Jin beats himself a lot. That is definitely something that he can do. So we had some of that going on. But yeah, so pretty good event. All things considered, considering it was the lamest possible lame duck meta with like not only a new set upcoming, but a lot of expectations of a ban list.
Yeah.
And then we got said ban list shortly thereafter.
Yeah, I watched the finals of that tournament. Tam's
it was crazy.
Was sick. That was really cool.
Yeah, he was playing a lot of defense.
You guys get to watch the stream live in the front?
Yep. We had
that's awesome.
Had a couple people out on the couch. As soon as me, Rebby, and Corey were just like on the couch watching the finals.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah, that final that went to, I believe, 3 games, didn't it? And they were all like actually game 3 was
game 3 was at 1.1 health each. Yeah.
Yes. And Tam unfortunately checked a 3 when he needed not a 3 to win that game. But it was definitely a cool match to watch overall.
Yeah. I want to go back and watch the rest of those. Because I know I saw I like skimmed through the. I love that we're like streaming to YouTube because YouTube is a good player and I can skim through the VODs back and forth pretty quickly, and it loads nicely. I saw, and so like I watched your match round 2. That was pretty interesting, even for being thoroughly off meta.
Yeah, that was that game 2 was the only loss that was not close. Mega Mutant just absolutely steamrolled me on 2. I'm like, man, Godzilla doesn't even get to do this. I blocked Godzilla 5 times on 2. Mega Mutant, no chance.
I feel like I can like spin some grand narrative out of like you there's a lot of like glass cannony decks that have like the possibility of doing that in 1 in 5 games or something, and that's part of the story of the game. I think is honestly a positive, good thing in the grand scheme of things.
But I mean, who knows? If people keep optimizing Mega Mutant, maybe at some point though the version 20 of the deck shows up, right? And we see what it looks like. Especially, we have bans changing things without affecting decks like that. We have new cards coming out and so on. So.
Yeah, I've been testing a little bit of Mega Mutant. That character can absolutely murder you, but you gotta make sure that they can't chew through your 33 health.
Yeah, you have to figure out how to play. You're spending so much energy,
right?
Making sure that you find the cards and do the big thing that you need to stay alive somehow.
Right.
Yeah. 6 anti aggro type things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, we got the ban list. Shortly after, we can move on talking about that a little bit. I guess I'll segue into that by talking about just a few comments on Deku. I think a lot of people were surprised that he wasn't touched, and I think part of this is because of the Guilty Gear tension mechanic and the yellow Roman cancel in particular, but also like in practice, I know that the elevator pitch for this Deku deck is it's a one-hit kill deck. It's it's just gonna build to 1,000,000 and then kill you in one hit. And maybe it's just the decks that I've been playing, but that has not been my experience facing the deck recently at all, right? It was definitely what it was doing at Worlds with all the OCE lists, but the Mitch's list and the air lists in general are doing a lot more like, I'm going to get you for 12 at some point while keeping some defenses up. And it's going to get me a bunch of momentum or a bunch of cards because it's a Hang 10 or a Fajin. And then you're going to be at like 13, and then I might try to finish. Or I might need to hit you 3 times, right? Which is, still like it's not a big attack string or whatever, but like if you die in 3 hits, I don't know how mad to be at this deck, right? It flashes a move, then it blocks some things. It's like, it's fine. It's very beatable with just like normal attack strings, as long as you're not overly reliant on a certain enhanced step, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely a pull of the metagame in terms of sort of like the speed of the deck and the interactability of when it's going to try to punch you. But I think one thing that's very true of the game right now is that even if you try to optimize towards one pull, but say, hey, here's like my least interactive kill possible, there wind up still being an awful lot of things you have to account for when you're trying to execute that. And there aren't an awful lot of like really super high consistency ways to line up everything you need at the same time, right? Like we used to see, like way back in the day, put the boomer card on like the Jiffy Jamber 8 hand size deck prior to the concept of deadlock being introduced. Just builds an infinite stage and then eventually stacks up so many +2 speed buttons that it plays into those for your life total and you can't stop it. Because we didn't have cards like Moment of Normalcy back then. And just like the game has evolved in such a way, we've got all these and so it's hard to build a Deku deck because you have to account for all kinds of different things still.
Sure.
Yeah. And for my Nidra in particular, it is true that if Deku gets 10 foundations, he can just send a Wingnut for my life total or for 19. And when I get a little greedy and cut myself to 19 to get 2 more damage, I just immediately died for him. Like, oh yeah, that was a mistake. Nidra is tough to be, because you need to be greedy sometimes.
Yeah.
Then you die by 1 health and you feel like an idiot.
Right, yeah, she's very hard to play.
Yeah, what actually did get hit? Let's see. First off, we had the pony errata. Do we want to just like talk about them one by one, or do we want to package them up?
I think that's fine. We can do it one by one.
Yeah, we have some time to burn here.
We have plenty.
So the first thing was this pony errata that moved the clear to once per turn. I know I was personally surprised by this just because ponies' finishes haven't been like any more impressive than like Deku's finishes, for instance. But I know in the room there are people that just believe that Pony is the best character and has been for some time, and it's hard to argue too much with that. She's a very, very good character, so it's not like I'm shocked that they hit Pony. It's just that it didn't seem like it was close to the center of the dartboard, so to say.
Right. The way I kind of view it, and I might just be wrong, this may not be what they thought of. and it may not be the case in general. But I kind of go back to what I was talking about in like a few episodes back, where like how Pokemon, when they ban stuff, they have to think about what's going to dominate the meta once
Right.
they do kill the things at the top. I can totally see this being a preemptive errata because Pony is just very good in general, and they might be worried that with these other decks that have been hit with these bans, that might just start dominating. Whether or not that's true, we don't know. We unfortunately won't get to know, but I can understand the reasoning behind it at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Pony. What I infer for the Pony thing is just that for all the people, all the ways that folks say that Universe Games doesn't care about whatever. I think they do, and I think what I see in Pony is that there's a like big OTK string where Pony takes literally 100 game actions
Mhm.
over the course of the turn, and there is no counterplay, and or there is very thin counterplay, and that this is a frustrating experience to be on the wrong end of. Right?
Yes.
She
Right.
gets X distance far ahead, and then she starts talking, and she never stops, and you end up perishing at some point in that, no matter how well you defend yourself. Um, and this is kind of just to bring her back to earth, because this is a incredibly flexible character. It's a character
Right.
that can play defense. It's a character that can move a lot of cards around and have a lot of an extremely broad range of like hooks for synergy, right?
Mhm.
We think about Science Rose, we think about, I'm not going to get into it. And at the same time, it had the highest sort of sustained offense for a kill turn. That's a little bit discordant with just like a well-ordered metagame where if you get a very powerful, flexible character, you don't also have the best in class
Right.
offense at the same
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what I see here is that they wanted to tune down the strength of the best long string deck
Right.
Yeah. And
and
this
make
is
it into just a more fundamentals game.
certainly a character that should still be good.
Right.
Plus
Yeah.
2, -2 speed with card selection can't be that bad,
Right.
especially since you do get that one clear. It's just we're not going to be seeing any more lethal slashes in these decks for sure.
And well,
Uh,
actually, I guess actually in Will's frame of, well, what's the metagame look like after we make this ban? I do also think of, well, what checked Pony? I think that Hanji was a problem for this deck.
right.
Especially Hanji's a problem for like the lethal flashes and the 4 high for 4s. Even in the world where they're playing
Yeah.
Genghis Frog, Hanji can fight over the Genghis Frog. And it's just hard to goldfish 40, 50 damage in one turn.
Mhm.
Um, but if that's coming out of the metagame, if we're getting back to more 7 hand size, getting back to more I guess Godzilla is still going to be around, but um, more kind of normal size light totals to be able to count to, then yeah, it's
Yeah.
much less
Here's
stuff.
here's a question, and this is just a purely hypothetical. I'm just kind of curious. I want to pick your brains about it. There is a specific sentence here in under Pony where it says, after some internal testing, we feel that there is no one specific card propelling her to success. The character herself is doing most of the heavy lifting in most cases. Do you guys agree with that? Do you think there is something that we could have hit instead, or do you agree with this? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, I think that all the pony decks, like, there's been an incredible diversity of the successful pony decks and the successful
Sure.
strategy of pony. Um, you can kind of do whatever with any cards that have decent numbers and generate some card economy.
Yeah.
Sure.
I don't know if like they're probably, I guess they're, I mean, because what are they going to do? Ban Electric Moth? Like, there's cards that are in every pony list, but it's really hard to point at those and like, yeah, that's the problem,
Sure.
right?
That's fair.
It's just what Pony's face does at
Yeah.
the end of the day,
Right.
especially if they
Yeah.
want to make more of those cards,
Sure.
right?
And
Who
that's
knows
fair.
what's in the
That's totally
pipeline?
fair. Yeah, because like the thing I remember most when people were initially complaining about Pony, like when she was starting to be very good, was Wish Hard and Feral Shriek. And like I said, I just wanted to kind of pick your brains and see like if that would still be the answer, or if she just still has enough value now, even without those cards, could she still be a threat if they didn't
Yeah, I
errata
think
her?
they want to live in a world where they're allowed to print Feral Shriek.
And that's fair. That's totally fair. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think people get a little bit over attached. I think people over index on like nut draws is a very
Sure.
natural thing to do. And I think people over index on, oh, wow, she drew 4 cards in an hand step. How does anyone brick on a kill turn after drawing 4 cards? It's actually very easy to draw 4 cards that aren't terribly good.
Right, of course.
When your deck depends on having this huge engine of this huge card economy stuff.
Sure.
Yeah, so aside from the errata, there were 4 actual bans. I guess we take the. Do we? I don't even remember what order they were in the article. Somebody pick
I
one.
got it. Sweeping daggers is the first one.
Okay, yeah, good riddance.
Yeah, with the first sentence of the statement is sweeping daggers power kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, humor me with an elegy for sweeping daggers because I've been on the tip of my tongue since Louisville. This card is wrong. This card is bad for the game because it is too good. But it's very interesting in the way that it's too good.
Yeah,
right.
Because it flips every card on its head. It says if you play good cards, you get punished by them. And the problem is that this card can steal Patrick babies and be just preposterously overstated. But there's a very interesting texture when you start playing. What this deck pushes decks towards is it pushes them away from Electric Moth and away from Patrick babies and very strongly away from cards like 200% Smash. And it pushes them towards weird stuff like Titan
Right.
Pile, like Rock Throw, like I'm actually going to name 6 more backup cards because that's really been the only particularly powerful like package.
Sure.
Like Hunter's Ally, right?
Or like if I did like a Valiant Assault deck, then I'm not going to necessarily have really great targets for that with my sweeping daggers. And that's an interesting specter to put on the metagame, and then a very interesting texture to your sweeping daggers decks, where one of the most striking things I took away from Louisville was that I put Syndicate Target on my deck kind of on accident. I don't like that card very much, but I was net decking off Jose, and Jose likes that card, so like, sure, I'll just play this. I do need some low blocks in my deck, and I'm maybe I want to walk the dog. And I got an unbelievable amount of equity from hitting Titan cliffs. Talk about that one in a minute. With sweeping daggers, because I got now have my 5 for 4 that's also building a foundation, and like that's just a slightly better signal shot at that point.
Sure.
But it's still powerful and it's still good, and it buys me a ton of equity in other matchups. And I worked my own deck. I took out cards like 200% Smash or 200% Unleash, the Taguro attack, in favor of the female Titan attacks, where I still had a lot of good targets with sweeping daggers, but they're just battle aura release. They're cards that are fair at 4 difficulty 3 control, instead of cards that are fair at 6 difficulty or 8 difficulty that are virtually banned by the existence of sweeping daggers.
Sure.
And sweeping daggers didn't even dominate the field. It wasn't even everywhere because, in part, it's complicated and it isn't necessarily part of a like linear strategy that just dominates someone. It's kind of a just overpowered card you put in your deck and turn into a mid-range.
Yes, the Swiss
deck.
Army knife. Yeah.
Yeah.
And also like it. I don't think this was really happening with sweeping daggers too much. It happened. It might happen a little bit with Unyielding Destruction before or now, where there's a little bit of self-selection to this, where like once a card has warped the meta, it becomes a little less good now that the meta's warping around it. Right? Like
absolutely,
I think
yes.
If I were to show up with not at one of these events, I would have been running like maybe 2 main 2 side or something like that, instead of just slamming 4 in, for instance. I know some people have talked about cutting Unyielding from decks that have normally played Unyielding, just because like people just don't play decks that get screwed over by Unyielding. Right? It's just a thing. But yeah, I actually before this recorded a video of 15 cards that are now unbanned. Now that Sweeping Daggers is gone. It's not precise, right? Some of these cards have seen a little bit of play, but I thought it'd be a fun, just quick video to rip through, and I'll put that on my channel tomorrow morning or something like that. There's more than 15 cards, but I wanted to keep it to a reasonable length.
I hope everyone went out and got their copies of The Rumbling.
Yeah, that's one of them. It's so there are cards like that. It's not the only one, but like The Rumbling was previewed, and about 30 seconds people forgot about it. Because they just instantly registered, yeah, Sweeping Daggers exists. We can't do this.
Absolutely. It was one of those cards where it's like, if I see it, great. If I check it and my opponent has a Sweeping Daggers, I lose the game.
Yeah, and now there's somebody out there, probably many somebodies out there, are trying to figure out, can I make this card work?
Right.
What needs to happen? What do we need to put together to do this? And maybe that turns out to be a very unhealthy card for all we know. But now it's like a card that exists as opposed to a card that didn't exist, that people didn't even get excited about during preview season. It was really hard because people get excited about everything in preview season.
Yeah, if you want to fly a little bit closer to the earth, I am a big fan of Ravages of War, which is awfully similar in shape to the Rumbling.
Yes.
And is a great block on top of everything else. So.
Yep.
All right. But let's talk about Team with the Attack Titan next.
Yes.
Next we got the page. We kind of go from a spectrum of like mid-range card to a very aggro card, and then I guess maybe it's shape doesn't actually make sense. But this is Porco and Devil Jin haircut territory, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So some
absolutely.
people think this card's actually like a sin card that breaks the rules of the universe. I think they're nuts. But tell me what y'all think.
Yeah, I think I was not surprised that this got hit in the sense that it was something that was on everybody's minds of like, oh, here's a way you can hit one card to touch both of these decks that people really don't like. A little surprising because their great Yamada attack is like better teaming, but you just have to play certain attacks with it, right?
Right.
Um, they're coming right out with better teaming and Guilty Gear, which is pretty funny. But yeah, I was a little surprised that this is the only thing they did to Devil Jin. I think this hurts Porco a lot more than it hurts Devil Jin because
Right.
Porco's expressly trying to loop these things.
I'll agree with that.
And Devil Jin, like, he might draw one, and if he does, it's going to be really good. And like maybe there are some heist lines where you end up airshipping for one or something like that.
Mhm.
But like by and large, he's just going to put Besiege in that slot, and he's going to have 2 more difficulty on his string.
Right.
And in return, he will have a card that he can poke with, which teaming obviously can't do, and so he'll get a little bit clawback on that too.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, Devil Jin beats himself sometimes, and now maybe he'll beat himself a little bit more often. And we'll see what that does to the popularity of the deck. I'm guessing not much, but we're
Right.
just gonna have to find out.
Yeah, I think as long as it still has heist, triple M, and camouflage counter, that deck's probably pretty safe.
Yeah, the heart and soul of Devil Jin is, in my book, it's camouflage counter and exactly Goblin Bolt.
Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
Those are
Yeah, Goblin Bolt
the
does a lot of work.
kind of the glue that kind of puts everything else together. And then the heist is just a huge injection of power.
Mhm.
And it's got all these redundant pieces and all this interaction, and it has the downside of being a 5-hand size, but
Right.
it's very powerful. It has, to me, it has like I'm thinking in terms of, you have hard mode and you have easy mode, where you'll have hands where you play your heart out and you make a hard read on what zone they're missing, and you get over the line. And the other games where you kind of draw your hand and say, okay, I'll just like take some game actions, and you look at your stage like, oh wait, I have 2 exam strategies. Take 2,000 damage.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. But for just briefly, not skip Porco's part. I don't know about Porco dead. I think like all in turn 2 Porco's certainly dead. I think.
Right.
The full sellout Porco definitely gone, and
Mhm.
people want to try to play him as a little bit more of a defensive. I'm going to build a stage up, and then I'm going to need 7 foundations to do my thing. I'm already running Barrier Shield. Like maybe there's something in that space. Fire and Death is a very, very good symbol combination.
Mhm.
But I think the like min max our turn 2 Solitaire is probably not viable anymore.
I mean, everyone's been playing, I feel like 4x Barrier Shield has been a complete staple in Porco,
Yes.
and like
He's not that far away
decently high
from playing
level of,
defense as he is.
Right.
yeah,
Like he
and
can.
actually, like 4x, not forcing surrender, 4x, the
Driven?
1/4 Sun card.
Oh, arrogant, no.
No.
That's
Oh gosh, what is it? It's
Spirit Stone?
I don't know. It's
Frightening Calm. Frightening
Frightening
yeah,
Calm
Calm.
Threatening
is the
Calm. Yes,
card.
that one.
Like I think of Porco as like he's a 7-hand size who is just playing fundamentals and then has an insane wall breaker offense, right? He has, all 7 cards in my hand are attacks, right?
Right.
Once he gets to 4, then he turns 3 of them into extras. It's always just a matter of passing control checks at that point, and of doing it in time, right? Of something in time. And I mean, my paranoid explanation is that like people talked about, oh, these Porco decks were turn 2 me with like triple teamings and stuff, and then they play game 2, and game 2 they cycle twice because they just never draw the hand of like the 6
Right.
attacks with double teaming.
Right.
It's
Right.
like, was this fully randomized? I wonder.
Right.
And because I've played that deck and had that same experience of it's Sun Run or nothing, and this is not actually what you expect to happen in 10 games in a row type stuff. Anyway, but it's whacked now, and the levels are leveling off, and it'll certainly be slower in any
Yes.
case.
Right.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
even if they like hit the Marley's 5 build on 1, like it's still like vulnerable to breaker and whatever else
Yeah.
on
Mhm.
2, and needs final attack. So let's talk about 9 Titans throughout the ages next.
Yeah.
Hanji, is she still alive? why is this card banned? Maybe.
I don't think Hans 1 is alive.
Yeah.
I don't know if 5 hand size Zeke was ever alive, but he's certainly not now. I think War Chief might be even a net winner on this ban list just because of sweeping being gone. Even like losing 9 Titans in exchange for getting to main decks 4x Harness Undeath without a care in the world. He gets to consider something like Colossal Confrontation now, or whatever other giant difficulty attack on God's Green Earth he wants to try to slot in there, right?
Right.
So I think War Chief is still very much alive. I think the other 2 backup themed characters we saw a lot of are probably not so alive. But you could construct a backup package that's not Titan attack themed, right? I was doing a little bit of that with Nedre. You could do that with I don't want to say better characters. Nedre is a really good character, but a better overall package list.
Right.
But I will say this: I didn't think they were going to touch this one and they said it in the article. Like, this card on its own is within the bounds of being fine, right? Like, it's a 4 difficulty game piece that your opponent can attack, and it has this once per turn damage reduction that adds to a big DR package that, like, I hate it when that happens, but like on its own, it's not crazy. And it has this really big payoff, but you need a really big payoff for your 4 difficulty attackable game piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it takes some time to assemble, but in the grand scheme of things, when you put everything around it, there's just it was a little too much. I'll call it fortunate to make sure that I had the blown out by Titan Pile on 2 experience before this card left. I played one round of locals.
I showed up on Monday and had dreams of doing something more clever, and then kind of ran out of time and just like showed up and was only like 5 minutes late to the tournament. And then I was playing stock Hanji, like Barlow's life Hanji deck that I think he topped Atlanta with, and like for a while I've been kind of trying to crystallize like how good is Titan Pal? Because like how good is a 7 high for 20 attack? Precisely, like in detail, like 7 is not that fast. It's fast, but it's not that fast.
But it's fast enough for I stunned you 2 with Beast Sight and Rock Barrage, and then you check the 3 on your block, GG.
Right.
It is fast enough for that, for sure.
And then not to mention if you have a second 9 Titans and a second Titan Pile.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that like for me, that's kind of the big picture of this ban is that 7 high for 20 is enough to warp the game.
Yeah,
and is when it's at the rate, like the expenses you pay, the ultimate deck building trade-offs of the Hanji deck. The Hanji deck is very happy to just play these random dopey Titans. It's very happy to play, especially Titans under orders with the 9 Titans. Like, that is a good strategy to just stack up -3 damage pieces, even if they're burning stamina to do it. And then it gets to have free wins early, and it gets to have really, really heavy hands late. And I think that's the picture here. Is I think that, as you're saying, like the Zeke deck, I think there's a lot of decks around that were playing this card fundamentally fairly. Like I think I really like the knockdown blow into 9 Titans gameplay loop. I think it's like really cool and ultimately kind of fair and balanced. And I hope it's still kind of out there in the metagame. We've seen a bunch of that before AOT3 dropped, and I wonder if we'll see any more of it ever again. It's been kind of absent since Unyielding Destruction, I guess. But yeah, RIP to 9 Titans Throughout the Ages. And we got more Titan cards.
Technically,
the last one.
Oh, yeah, sure.
The last ban is Titan Cliff, kind of targeted to Godzilla, but a different flavor of Titan and equally banned.
Yeah, this might have been the most expected ban on the list. Maybe after teaming, the one that people most expected to get touched. And part of that's a little bit of like company cynicism. Oh yeah, they'll just hit the common that's going to rotate over touching Godzilla himself. But also it, at least in my experience, it has been expressly noticeable, right? Godzilla's hands when he has this card versus doesn't have this card, those turns look so different.
As I constantly say when people are complaining about Godzilla, the thing you want to deal with that character is his consistency. And this card made him hella consistent.
Yeah, the big thing for me, so I guess I have 2 thoughts on Titan Cliff. So I've been a Godzilla poo-pooer, victim blamer since day one, and have only gradually accepted that like maybe there's some smoke, maybe there's
Yeah,
some fire under all the smoke because he's had smoke since day one of
right.
just people who don't know what they're doing and blunder. And Godzilla, it demands less of the players to like put lethal damage on the table and to navigate the game. It does not demand as much as like if you play a Rodan, you have to make a lot of decisions in the direction of correctly over a long period of time to eventually win the game.
Mhm.
Um, you have you get trade-offs, so there are advantages to this, but you can fumble and make a lot of mistakes with Godzilla and still present lethal and have chances to win. Um, that are anyway way down a rabbit hole. Um, One way that I think I find useful to think of Titan Cliff is that with finally free and specific, this is a 3 difficulty attack for 9 damage,
Yeah.
and that's shocking. And that also gives you a extra
Filter
resource for
3.
next turn if you don't
Yeah.
win.
Yeah. By the
And
way,
that,
it also filter 3.
and also yeah, it's also a draw 3. Yeah, um, which is certainly like it becomes less surprising when Godzilla has 4 attack hands a high percentage of the time when he does get to draw 3 in, during them.
Mhm.
Um, and I think there's some of this is I think also like my same thing with Porco of well I think there's a lot of ways you can shuffle your Godzilla deck that don't end up being very particularly randomized and tend to be very uh, trendy with like you get the same kinds of draws and the same sorts of shapes, so you get a lot of foundations and a lot of attacks. It is favorable to your chances to win, and like they get overrepresented in people's mental maps of how good the deck is, both because of that institute randomization and also because of uh, biases of human cognition of memory and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right,
It's
you remember the bad
the
luck more than
time.
the good luck.
Yeah. You take a picture and you share it on Discord when Godzilla plays 7 attacks on 2.
Yeah.
But you forget all the times where he like played 2 attacks, checked threes on both of them, and then passed.
Yeah.
Yeah, you completely memory hold games. You memory hold the concept of canceling City Rampage
Right.
because boy howdy, if he checks a 3 on City Rampage and you cancel it, his hand sucks now. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
his hand is; it sucks. He thought it was good enough to attack with, and he can't play the attacks anymore.
Yeah. I am sad about losing Titan Cliff in the sense of like in non-Godzilla situations.
Yeah,
The idea that you had a 6 difficulty attack that people were willing to play, it is so hard to get people to play 6 diffs. And we had one and people were happy to play it, and it was like smoothing out draws for certain decks that maybe needed some help with something like that.
Mhm.
And I've complained a lot about how a lot of power is focused in characters right now, and there's not a lot of non-character tools to kind of bridge the gap. And Titan Cliff was a way to do that, right? If you did the Titan Cliff stuff, you could take a character that was maybe middling and make them a little more competitive. Um, so we lost a card in that way, but ultimately, for the rest of its legality, people were going to be looking to build decks around Titan Cliffs, and they were going to use the best characters to do it, not just the
Right.
ones in need, so to say.
Right. If I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't believe him, but if J Ray is to be believed in testing, they also tested Soul Bad Guy with Titan Cliff and finally Free and the new foundation that gets momentum when you pitch it, and all
Yeah,
those
with
things
that
together
coming
just
to
made a
Godzilla, yeah, in
yeah,
particular,
that
yeah,
coming to Godzilla and honestly just a lot of other characters that care about momentum.
yeah,
That's a lot. That's rough. And I totally get it.
yeah. I miss building Ultra Regen with this card, but
yeah.
Inspiring Song and Finally Free are both much stronger
Yes,
cards in
yeah,
the aggregate than Ultra Regen.
Right.
So yeah, that's the ban list. 5 I think major actions.
Mhm.
Do we think that the game is fixed?
I don't know about fixed, but it's certainly different, right? Like
Yeah,
I think there's still probably going to be some issues here and there. I still think Devil Jin is still going to be a monster in general. Not necessarily the most problematic thing, but who knows? But we'll see where it goes. One thing I do want to mention before we move on from the ban list, I think it's definitely worth everyone's time to read these articles instead of just looking at the ban cards, because you can kind of get like an idea of what they're going through when they're making these decisions. One thing that was very apparent if you read this whole thing is that the very last thing they want to do is touch a character.
yeah,
Like if you read all these things, it's like we banned Nine Titans because that was the thing that Hanji like was abusing. We banned Titancliff because it was being abused by certain characters like Godzilla. Pony, the only reason we touched Pony the way that we
We
did is
couldn't find any
because
other choice. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a good read. I think that there was a lot of cases where they could have hit a character and decided to hit a non-character piece.
Right.
Which is, as a hater of errata, conceptually, I think that's probably a fine instinct to
Agreed.
have.
I was having a conversation about this the other day about why I hate errata so much. Um, I kind of, given especially this justification, this framing of Nine Titans ban, I kind of really wish they had just banned Hanji Zoe instead.
Yeah.
Right,
I,
instead of
I
errating, yeah.
I do agree that I think that we could just ban characters again, and some people would be upset if they banned their favorites, but I think that's a necessary evil personally, but that's just me.
And well, I think so in this specific case, because I think for me, my conception of both the shape of the metagame and specifically Nine Titans' role in the metagame and the reason it got banned is that it's very Hanji Zoe centric and very centered on Titan Pile ultimately.
Right.
And certainly like the War Chief deck getting still gets to Rocko the Thin, still gets to cheat around with it a bunch. We saw a little bit of Titan's Peak with some 4 checks and some 9 Titans. Although Peak is very awkward with this card, it's actually very uncomfortable and sucky
Yeah,
in a
the
lot of ways.
firsties, yeah.
But like this to me, I wonder if this would be less damaging sort of to the psyche of people who enjoyed the Hanji deck if they still got to play this deck and they got to say, okay, well, Hanji's banned, but I can still play Zeke, Jaeger, the Beast Titan, and still have my Fire Life Titans deck that plays backups and flips and stuff and pops off with some of the same Titan stuff. I can still play, well, I mean, now we can still play my Flock deck to still play my Titan piles and get sort of a very similar bad play pattern that we banned it over and not have the other positive experience at the end of the spectrum. I wonder if it would have been a net positive in terms of sort of not player retention so much as kind of retention of the spirit of the people of things gameplay we liked, the game that we liked.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it feels like it's being treated as a policy, which is fair, right?
Yeah,
but like they could have decided to skirt the policy in this particular case potentially.
Right.
Yeah, I think yeah, certainly yeah. You say kind of reading between the lines and just reading the lines. It does seem like the policy is we never ban characters, and we were very reticent to even, um, it, you know, we consider characters relatively sacred in the same
Right.
way that a lot of like negation effects consider characters relatively sacred, and I think that's probably it's an entirely rational impulse. I think entirely rational way to structure the game. That say this is a game about characters, and we want you to buy into the character and to metaphorically become the character as you play the game.
Yeah, relative. But, yeah, just bouncing back to the question: is the meta fixed? Who knows, right? We're gonna see what comes out on the other side of this. Obviously, right? I'm markedly disappointed that unyielding is still around, but I think at least in the near term, honestly, it's probably not going to show up that much. Because the highest profile decks right now post bans are going to be Devil Jin and Deku and Rodan, none of whom care about unyielding to any meaningful degree.
It gets bodied by unyielding, doesn't it?
Rodan?
If you could Deku,
if you resolve it,
unyielding,
if you actually resolve it, yes, he gets blown out. But it's uncomfortable for him because he has to save his flashes for those. But like ultimately, the odds that you're actually going to resolve one against him are very low.
If we're just defeatist about it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you get all your other ones though, which is a benefit. But
yes, you're right. If one resolves, then Deku hates it.
Yes,
he does not like the card.
Yeah, but like if you want to do something like that against Deku, you can now just try to do some detonation thing or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I guess which is also a blitz which can get flashed. But anyway, no. But in any case, and also the only deck that was like main decking unyielding that might still be around is the War Chief deck, and maybe Mimic will crop back up or something like that. But I think, as much as it's annoying to try to like warp your deck choices around unyielding. I don't know if we have to for a little while. I think once the champ cards show up, there are going to be people trying to
Yeah.
do unyielding Tyner. There are going to be people trying to do unyielding Taryan with new champ assets.
Mhm.
So we'll have to think about it for Worlds and whatever King of Fighters has and etc. But at least in
Ooh,
the near
Taryn with
term,
that
I
asset
wouldn't
sounds
expect to
good.
see it too much.
Yeah, I think definitely I'm curious to see how the 6-hand size chaos aggro deck, the Mimics, the Godzillas, the whoever else out there, how those will shake up, and if those will still make a splash in the metagame, or if they'll kind of fade out. And yeah, the variety of various speeds of 7-hand size, whatever, and 6-hand size, incremental advantage stuff in the broad sense of Terran, or I don't know. Like I know people have been talking about like mid-range Deku. It's just like throwing hands and
Yeah,
making you block all the time, and that certainly has potential.
yeah. I mean, I said earlier, the air list isn't that far from doing that now. Where it's just like, yeah, I don't know. Here's a 9/9 Goblin Bolt. What are you gonna do? I can't. Shrug. Here's my thing. I do think the meta is improved in the sense that if what you didn't like about the meta was the number of like overwhelming one turn kill executions that you just maybe you could have stopped if you had the perfect deck or the perfect draw or whatever, but you just were not practically stopping most of the time. Uh, with your deck that's trying to stop these other ones or whatever, there's certainly going to be fewer of those, right? There's going to be fewer Godzilla blowouts. There's going to be fewer Porco blowouts. There's going to be fewer Pony blowouts.
Right.
Devil Jin's going to have to work slightly harder. He's probably still a menace, but I think my broad take on the upcoming meta is going to be a little bit like Vegas, the Vegas regional, where it was like younger Toguro and a bunch of people trying to beat younger Toguro.
Oh, sure.
We're
Yeah, yeah.
probably going to have Devil Jins, a bunch of people trying to beat Devil Jins, and if you can beat both the Devil Jins at least some of the time, because no matter what you do, he can still just Sunrun you, just like younger Toguro, right? But if you can hold your own against Devil Jin and beat the things that are beating the Devil Jins, then you should be in good shape.
That seems reasonable.
I think that's probably about right. And I think it's a wide spectrum of spicy things you can be doing in the metagame.
Right.
There's I think that's still been kind of the case, is that if you really want to be a debuild people to zero kind of gamer, there's more potential to do that than there has been in a lot of games. There's a lot of potential to be a hardcore aggro player, hardcore control player. Like I think Picasso 1 is kind of a winner from this, just because if the field slows down a little bit and people aren't stressing about any getting killed on
Yeah,
two,
yeah,
like Picasso 1 can certainly kill you on two.
yeah.
Yeah.
We stopped trying to stop Pony. Here comes Mikasa.
Yeah.
Right. Like it does kind of suck that she lost sweeping, but that's really the only thing of value that she lost here. So
Yeah, I don't know if Guilty gives her any weapons or not. I don't know off the top of my head.
on symbol, I don't know.
Yeah.
Boop. Boop.
I was looking at Anasa the other day. I don't think it was. I was thinking about a 4-check Anasa, but I was thinking about like stuff that could unyielding into some kind of effective turn afterwards, and Anasa came to mind. And I was also because I was looking for Death plus Water, like Faith Shield plus Dark Ward, fight Devil Jin a bit,
Oh, sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? Notably, he has the same symbol spread as Ashley, so and a lot of similar mechanics. So if you're trying to like practice to maybe play Ashley once she is legal, then you could mess around with Anasa a bit and do some similar things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's gonna be. We're not gonna have events before Worlds, so we won't know if Mark Tyner is a horror or a bust until someone
Yeah.
does or doesn't try it on the big one.
Yeah, the only thing I can say about Mark, because I have a local who just started playing him, he's very annoying to play against. The character, not my local.
Like the character and the. I thought you were gonna say like the character and the person and the characters represent.
No. Just the character specifically. You know, being able to twice per turn effectively breaker to you, work it in your turn, is very frustrating to deal with. I don't know how good that's going to end up being, but I can absolutely see a lot of people getting tilted by it.
Yeah, people that just enjoy making their opponents hate everything.
Right, absolutely.
Oh no, I only actually played against Mark once. I didn't mind it, but also he was punting his brains out, so know, this was the top cuts where he kept committing recovery girl to pass checks. I'm like, okay, I guess.
But
Sometimes that's I guess Mark.
speaking of metagames that will be relevant before Worlds, how do we feel about Guilty Gear?
Yeah, so we see the full set now. We got the remaining cards preview turned out to be mostly foundations, including another set of additions to the like. I'm just gonna say Libra, Soul Calibur, Libra, the 2019 style, 2018-2019 style of like we're gonna make one diff negation foundations all over the place that hit various random things. We're sort of bringing those back. We had some in Street Fighter, and now we're getting some more in Guilty Gear. So that seems to be a gameplay pattern that at least a couple people on the team like, and we're printing some of those cards. And I don't necessarily know that I mind it. It's just different. It's a change.
Right.
Yeah, at some level, I think it's kind of a check on power creep in a way, right? It
Right.
says if you get sick of losing something at your locals, put 4 copies of the silver bullet in your deck, and now you can screw them over and make them think a lot harder about what they're going to do and when they need to use their abilities and how they're going to form their game plan, because they're going to get their shins kicked out of them, out from under them sometimes. I do not like Heat Tackle.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the new Goblin Bolt that
Yes.
is also a 5 difficulty 6 damage tension attack. That seems like way too strong, and also is more silver bullet cancels in the card pool. And
Yeah. It doesn't even flip to cancel, so it still counts as an attack in your card pool for your gravity beams. Which is like one of the awkward things about gravity beam is if you try to play it with echo moves or stuff like Goblin Bolt, you can kind of put yourself out of your own gravity beam. Heat Tackle doesn't have that problem.
But it does get more evidence for Face Shield plus Dark Ward, I suppose. Actually,
and Faith Shield or the was it disruptive tackle, disruptive push, redirecting push, and also disabling jab. Don't sleep on disabling jab. I know it's hard to play a 2-check with like normal stats, but man, that block is so good. It is so good.
Yeah, +1 every zone and takes text off their card.
Meanwhile, I'm just over here gushing about the fact that they finally printed an actual Bing Bong in the most recent sets for the actual symbol that mills itself. Because we have a 1 diff that's on all for Leonardo even and Fire that says after it enters your discard pile from your hand or deck during the enhanced step, your attack gets 1/1. Doesn't even remove itself. I love this card. I'm in love with this card as a self mill aficionado.
That is a pretty cool one. I've sort of skipped over that one.
It's nothing like crazy or exciting. It's just I'm happy about it because the last few Bing Bongs that we've gotten that would be like this does a thing when you mill it have been poopy death symbol cards.
Yeah, I saw that card and I have I kind of had a romantic fondness for playing Pony back in last summer with the +5 block card that draws when you discard it. And like the specific insight that when you cycled and you discard a bunch to cycle through your deck the first time, you flip your deck over, you remove 10, and then you've removed 10, you've like removed 7 or 8 foundations or whatever that are sitting in your stage plus whatever's in your hand. Like you actually get substantially higher density of them in your deck after the cycle, and that's actually like a kind of natural scaling you get built into your deck.
Right.
Or that was built into Pony back then when you got those cards. That was a really cool pattern I liked in the deck, and conceivably something you could do with this. That as you said, a lot of the Bing Bongs that exile themselves are the opposite of that.
Right.
Yeah, I think the card I'm most excited for is probably also the very first card they previewed. I think it's still Heaven or Hell. Yeah, I think that's
one. I like that one.
That's still what's sort of on top of my mind for this set of just having, talking about gap closures, like a foundation that helps your card selection to find stuff on offense for the decks that need it. I'm My loose plan right now, and who knows if I'll just change my mind every hour for the next 4 weeks, but I'm probably just gonna fiddle around with this Nedre until Guilty Gear comes out, and then I'm gonna reconstruct that order peak with Heaven or Hells and see what we can do.
Hell yeah.
Because that deck before was like it had 4 attacks that it wanted to play, and then it was a lot of question mark. And now Bloodsucking Universe is an option that it can run. But I was running some like weird stuff in that last attack slot. There's 5 attacks I want to play. I think I forgot Walk the Dog there, but it was like, okay, well, you want to run Ice Sword, you want to run Walk the Dog, you're running Makasta's Fatal Cleave, Violent Animus Shot, and Thunder Spear Barrage. And if you want your deck, even if you want to run a 60 card deck, unless you're 4xing all of those, you're going to have to fill with something. And if you want to go up a little bit thicker, so maybe you can run 3 Anti-Titan Artilleries or whatever, now, man, what orange cards are we going to put in?
Right.
And Guilty Gear has a couple of options. I think it's going to be Bloodsucking Universe, but we'll see.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder. Yeah, speaking of order decks, I wonder if Nagoyuki.
Yes.
Nagori
Yes.
We sure have a new Godzilla on our hands, boys.
Yeah, he's going to be. I think he's going to be popular, and then we'll see what he does. Sometimes decks characters that are really popular out of the gate just go nowhere, and sometimes they're real.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not opposed to trying him, right? I do like me some Pale Riders and Thunder Spears. And he sure is a guy that gets to play both of those.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, the peak idea manifests from like, yes, I want to play Dark Ward. And it's Runaway Dark Ward instead of Faith Shield Dark Ward, but it's almost as good.
Yeah, and so there's so much happening. Yes, we have before Buffalo, we're gonna have the Sungjing Wu deck coming in like less than 2 weeks.
Yes.
Or the Sungjing Wu DLC expansion, whatever.
Comes in 8 days.
Firms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next Friday dropping with 5 competitively viable cards. I think that are just gonna, be on the docket for any deck that's on the symbols, pretty much.
Yeah.
In more or less a package, but yeah, and I think fully viable SCW because we're gonna have all the Guilty Gear stuff. I got to shout out to Bridget because I think Bridget both herself and then her kid, like her iteration of the 3 difficulty if you gain 2 momentum this card, do both bullet of this card is completely cracked. It's just like another airship. They can also put a 6-check attack your deck. Like that's wild. And like it's certainly going to be it's like very obviously blunt in your face power, but then there's a lot of, once you have the power, like it's like, okay, this is a competitive deck, this is a viable deck probably, but what are the details? Like when we get in the weeds, like what's really going to be happening? What kind of counterplay is there to this? Is all very fascinating and exciting to see how that's going to shake out. But I think that's got to be on the list if anyone's going to be trying to test seriously of, well, what's my Bridget build look like and what's it match up against what I'm going to try to play.
Right.
Yeah, and then even post that, right? Even post Buffalo, between that and Worlds, with no other events in between aside from whatever community stuff crops up, you have the champ cards as well, which are going to be relevant because there's not only some characters but some assets and stuff in there too.
Right.
And then the King of Fighters decks and whatever they bring, and we saw a couple of those cards today, and they were interesting cards, intriguing cards. I don't know if they push us in any directions with just those, but it's going to be 2 challenger decks, so 42 new cards in the format plus 8 or whatever champ cards. So we've got another like half of a blitz set, I guess, coming through.
All right, guys. So right now, like vibes. If you were going to play Team Hero versus Team Rival, I think is the name of it.
Right.
Hybrid sealed. Which 3 packs would you want in your sealed deck? Of King of Fighters. Or of anything else.
This is going to sound silly. I'm going to say Turtles. Just because of the symbols that we've seen on those cards looks like it's very Turtles aligned.
I think Turtles have a lot of I think.
Well, I guess there's not going to be any
number of underrated commons.
Yeah, and I guess we're not following symbol rules, but in theory, you're going to have some common themes.
Yeah.
What's the exact question?
Time packs.
If you're picking 3 booster packs to play hybrid sealed with, so you get your Challenger series, you get 3 booster packs. Which 3 packs are you picking?
And it has to be the KOF ones, or just any.
It's going to
I'm
be the
assuming
KOF
KOF, but it's way
challengers.
more. It's more interesting
Okay,
if it's like tags you've ever seen before.
fair, fair, fair. Um, yeah, I mean, I guess we don't really know all the symbols for it, but it just depends on symbols. But I think we saw what good and void.
We've seen good,
On
void. I thought we saw an evil. Maybe we didn't.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I'd probably have to go with turtles then too, because the good symbol. If I could choose anything in standard, I guess there's also just girl power that I could go for.
Yeah, it's
There's some
really.
good stuff in girl power.
Yeah, I think you'd want to find something that has some theme alignment. Probably would be
Yeah.
where you would go with that, or if these this, or you pick like AOT 3 because that's the best deadlock, and we think that's important for limited or something like that,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, I will say from Chaos Sealed, I rarely don't play a card from an AOT3 if I have an AOT3 pack.
Yeah,
Like the cards are just very fundamentally sound
yeah,
compared to other sets where you have a lot of really just not weird nonsense that
Right.
yeah.
has like
Just like when you block with this, they lose one. Okay, sure.
too difficulty for control, weird character only
Yeah,
theme card.
yeah, exactly.
I want to play that.
Yeah, we're actually doing super sealed for the Critical Role event this weekend. So I'm gonna let my players pick a random, like not random, but I'll let them pick a challenger deck to start with, and then they're gonna get some packs to go with that challenger deck, and then we'll fight the boss. It'll be fun.
Nice. I'm going
Yeah, it's like I
to.
saw they
Yeah,
they posted
they
a
posted what the boss was going to do and all that stuff. And I guess you want to have the players are not to read the last page of the boss until something happens.
Yeah, I skimmed everything without spoilers. I will say that you are not required to run a Critical Role character. You can run whatever. There is no benefit or downside to what type of character you play. Despite, I think when Free was kind of like teasing at it in the Discord the other day, he just recommended Critical Role characters for lore reasons, not mechanical ones. But a lot of people saw that and thought that it might be mechanical.
Yeah, Free has a lot of ideas and preferences about power levels, and he just thinks the game is more fun when you play characters that are at
Oh,
the Critical
sure.
Role power level.
Oh, absolutely, and
Yeah,
that's totally fine.
yeah,
Nothing against that. I'm just putting it out there so that no one is worried
yeah,
that
right.
if they decide to play Ryu, that their game might be completely ruined or something.
Yeah, the special thing's going to come down. Everyone who's not a Critical Role character perishes.
Right, right,
Yeah,
right.
they become cursed and they become the villains. And now you're fighting against them. It's PvP now.
yeah, no, this is a wedding that can be open to anyone from across the multiverse, and World Warriors and Titans and shit are welcome, but they're a little bit out of place,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I believe I'm gonna miss. I don't know how long this is going for, but I'm visiting the family this weekend, so I'm gonna miss whatever this is. But
I mean, you have until the 20th technically.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah, we'll see. I don't.
I said I missed what I honestly, yeah, like the celebrate the wedding with a special PvE event. Okay, I guess there's check out the boss teams. I see. I missed a lot of the details of this. I guess when I saw the blog post today.
Yeah, and stores did not have to sign up early or anything. You can sign up right now. Your stores are allowed to run as many as they want. For the way that they wanted it to seem was that they wanted as many people as possible to get access to these promos. So you show up, get a point. The point can be turned in for exclusive cards. Uh, the bundle is 1 point, so you don't have to worry about grinding. And everyone is limited to a lifetime limit of 2. So no reason to go to every single one of them.
There's gonna be like a new point type in the store or something.
Supposedly, it will be a specific point type for this specific item.
So
I guess
Cardio
that
can definitely add points.
yeah,
They know
I
how
think
to do that.
it's specifically so that people show up to this event instead of just spending like their loyalty points on it.
Right.
I guess.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very charming. I'm happy that this is uh they can flex the platform to do this and
yeah,
Yeah.
offer these cool prizes. That's really dope.
Yeah.
and I guess for everyone listening and everyone here in this chat, there was an additional little surprise in the article for this. If you want a free month of Beacon, which is the streaming service that Critical Role streams on, Type in the code universes in all caps, and you get a free month. Free things are nice, so I figure I'll push it here.
Yeah. I think I'll have probably more to say about this event next week when we're talking about organized play.
Mhm.
That's
True, yeah.
I'll be able to give a recap of it because I'll be able to have played it because ours is on Sunday.
yeah. I think that's probably all we got for today here, right?
Yep.
I think
A
it's
good
been a good
hour.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The so what's up? So everyone should enjoy their Critical Role wedding events if they have them coming up soon. Anyone either in the UK slash Scotland or flying to there, like there's 10. How many people from US Canada are going over? Like 10?
I have the
8?
slightest.
It's a bunch.
Several, yes.
There's a bunch of people going over to Glasgow, so I hope they all have a good time. We should have a show before that, provided there's not another like flake out. But
Yeah, is that next weekend? 15th,
Glasgow's 2 weeks away, I think.
22nd?
Yeah. So we got a couple weeks before Glasgow. People have that much time to prepare in the post-ban world, figure out how you want to beat Devil Jin, and or see if, I mean, who knows? Maybe it's Europe, so they could all just like not register it. Right? It's things like that happen, or maybe all of the overseas people are going to show up with Devil Jin, and that's just going to be what it is.
Right.
Yeah, or if it's Deku and like what's your game plan against Deku?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes, I believe it is the same weekend as PAX and the Guilty Gear pre-release for this Glasgow event. And I think
Year's
I
coming.
believe we are not actually going to PAX. We talked about going to PAX, but I think it's not actually materializing.
Yeah, I definitely can't go.
Yeah. In any event, Candles, Kevin, you post anything recently to your YouTube or Substack?
I posted a ban list update for Retro on my Substack, and I have like 3 drafts that I should finish. But yeah, go ahead and I mean I'll send those around. So please go ahead and subscribe. Substack's awesome. It's
Was it
easier to
Substack
produce YouTube videos.
build UVS in Substack?
It's builduvs.substack.com.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
I mentioned this earlier. I finally have a new video going up whenever I sit down and make a thumbnail, basically. We'll ship that up to YouTube. It's just a fun little, like, here are some cards that have been unbanned now that Sweeping Daggers is gone. Just a quick idea that I thought would be fun to do. So that's going up. It's YouTube/Shatonis. I've a bunch of older videos on there that are somewhat evergreen that you can check out on there as well.
And I'm gonna push one thing before I push the UVS or our VOD channel. I mean, I'm gonna butcher his name. I don't know how to pronounce his username. But Calidus Orsis, I believe. Uh, for people who are not going to be able to attend these Critical Role wedding events due to lack of locals or bad scheduling or something, he is going to be posting throughout 2 different weeks, 4 events through 2 different weeks. He is going to be hosting TTS runs of the event so that you can sign up and earn your points for everyone else. So there will be no real excuse to miss out on this unless you just don't want them.
Yeah. Calidus
Uh,
does a lot of work on
yes.
TTS and other automations, and he knows Card.io's backend more than Card.io does.
Yep. And you can find this information under Event Hype in the main UVS Discord. Other than that, I am in charge of the Cast Universes VOD channel. I don't know why I say it that way because that's all we do is Universes talk. Maybe it'll be different if we ever decide to talk about Riftbound or something else. But new episodes will go up the following Monday or Tuesday afterwards. So check us out if you didn't catch the entire stream. I think that's everything, though.
Right, sounds
Yeah,
good.
thanks for joining us, and we'll
Yep.
see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Well, good night, guys.
Close the quick stop stream.